Okay, good afternoon and welcome everyone. We're going to make a start to try and hold on schedule as planned for today's webinar. Today you've got myself, James Astley, the Solutions Director at Somerford Associates, and actually coming from the same room, which is quite a novelty for once as we move out of the current weird world that we've been living in. I've also got Mundy with me as well, who's our Head of Technical Delivery.
Hello.
So let's make a start on topic today, which is Splunk's Fast Track. So a quick agenda for today. We're going to be going into what is FTS, so Fast Track Splunk, and why. Where has this come from? Why have they been created? And how do we think they can provide value for organizations? How they work, and then also into next steps. So how we can progress this and get any more information you might require. So just a very quick introduction to Somerford. For those who don't know who we are, from our Splunk days, we've been an elite partner or a top tier partner since 2010. We operate a dedicated in-house Splunk support desk. So that's with Splunk architects, engineers certified on the support desk, picking up and triaging all level 1 support. And we have a 95% resolution percentage without further need of escalation back into Splunk. We've got the largest certified Splunk delivery team in EMEA, and that does also comprise SC and DV cleared consultants, as and where they're needed for, obviously, some of our government organisations. Customer success for us is through a well-rehearsed delivery methodology. As I said, we've been delivering Splunk for a long time now. We understand the latest practices from Splunk, but we also have had enough knowledge to be able to apply our own methodology to really deliver quick and rapid success for our organizations. And for us, user enablement and platform training is absolutely key. And that's something that we focus on very heavily, and you will be seeing coming through the FTS. And finally, we also have a dedicated business value consulting team. So that's around how we actually understand what a potential roadmap might be for you, how we can start delivering value, but benchmarking value as we move through a phase now where it's important to have outcomes of a service and actually show how we've created value from an investment. We have a team set up dedicated to work with you to achieve that. So from a solution focus, some of the bubbles on the screen now, some of the solution areas that we've really seen a lot of our prospects and our organizations and customers moving through and probably been accelerated quite rapidly through the current time of COVID. We see obviously increased resourcing and capability requirements around DevOps. And for us, we've built out a dedicated DevOps team. So we really understand the space and we understand how we can support our customers. Hybrid cloud obviously is a huge area that's continually growing. And I think for us, we will continue to see a large number of our organizations with an element of legacy infrastructure and investments and applications, but also as they transition through the cloud, that hybrid mix. Solution interoperability has become very prevalent for us, and how we actually achieve value from different investments and how we link them together so you can create your hubs. It could be a security hub, it could be an application hub, but actually understanding how we can tie this together to actually leverage value from all the investments together as one. So we see a huge uptake in terms of solution interoperability. And then digital native customer profiles, where we see more and more people who are actually coming born in the cloud. It's different challenges that are faced in terms of legacy side of life, but also how we scale that and understand how a digital native organization and how those requirements might differ. And all that has come to the creation of FTS, and this is why it was created, to meet our customers' requirements and Splunk's customers' requirements. So why choose a fast track Splunk? Quite simply, quick and prescriptive value in 4 weeks from Splunk Cloud. So if I look into that in a bit more detail, what we're looking at is a solution or a capability that actually utilizes Splunk as a technology, providing a very prescriptive deployment methodology, providing encompassing enablement and training that allows you to monitor all of your services, applications, containers, your cloud environments, both legacy and hybrid infrastructure, all within a single solution, broken down into 3 pillars, which we'll look into in a bit more detail. Faster solution adoption, which is really important to organizations we work with. We need to be seeing quick ROI. There's no hidden costs. Everything is up front. It's very clear. It's very prescriptive in terms of what you get, licensing that's included, as well as the delivery capability. Really clearly defined delivery steps with clear outcomes, which is very important. And pre-built use case libraries. So again, really an understanding of what are you getting, but using our expertise and our knowledge to be able to guide you through that process. All delivered by Somerford Splunk certified technical consultant. So as before, anyone who is assigned to an FTS program, they're fully certified under Splunk's latest practices, holding the latest certifications. I'd like to pass over now to Anne, who's just going to go into a bit more detail about what FTS actually includes and digging into a bit more detail behind each of the 3 pillars, which is Fast Track Splunk for Security, Fast Track Splunk for ITOps, and Fast Track Splunk for Observability.
Thank you, James. So what I'm going to take on what each FTS includes, and that's for any of these 3 pillars. I'm calling them Fast Track Splunk Security, Fast Track Splunk ITOps, and Fast Track Splunk Observability. Now, for all of them, you get your cloud license subscription for 12 months. And importantly, you get user enablement and Splunk training so that you're confident that you can run with it after the pack. There's business value consulting activation. So that means that you'll end up with a prescribed path or roadmap down which you can go to get even more value from Splunk afterwards. There's the important project, which is the designing, the scoping, and the actual implementation of your Splunk. So that's included in the pack. And then once that project's done, you're not left alone. There's the in-house support desk as well that James mentioned, with our good 95% before going up to a vendor. You get your own dedicated account manager throughout that life, so that you get to know them really well and we can really help you out. And we do free of charge health checks, which means every 6 months we'll go in to you either on site or remotely, up to you, just to look at how this Splunk is working for you now. There may have been new best practices come out, but we can keep you on top of all of those via these health checks with our recommendations from the back of them. So there are 3 pillars. The first 2 pillars, the security and the ITOps pillars, are on Splunk Cloud. So these are what you include. And we've split them into light, standard, and enterprise. The light is around about a 20 gig license. Sorry, it is a 20 gig license, not around about. Standard 50 gig and enterprise 100 gig. The other thing that scales up with the different sizes that you can choose are points of effort. So light is 12, standard is 16, and enterprise is 20. Now, this means that you get like a little budget of points of effort. So you have, say, 16 points of effort to spend on this prescribed use case library. Each of the like use cases that you can choose has an aligned point of effort. And we can guide you through choosing those, but it means that you've got a really prescribed number of points of effort to choose the ones that you really want to do in this pack. So that's the security and the ITOps pillar. And then the observability pillar, again, split light, standard, enterprise. And this fast track pack is about infrastructure monitoring and applications performance monitoring. And that goes from, for infrastructure monitoring, 50 hosts, 100 hosts, 200 hosts. And for the application performance management monitoring, 25, 50, and 100. But the points of effort also scale 12, 16, 20. So it can be as light as you like it to be, or as big as you like it to be within these thresholds. So hopefully it'll suit all sizes of organizations if they're considering this really quick time to value. Now, I'll go through an example later, but the sort of things that you can get from the security pack would be, well, something like you could have your C at the end of it, which would be you're monitoring your single sign-on, your endpoints, if you have a centralized antivirus and your cloud platform, the security feeds from your one of your cloud platforms like AWS. So that's the sort of thing you can get, all your logs in one place with the alerts and dashboards tuned for you. In an ITOps pack, there are other use cases available, but that was just an example of what could be included. The ITOps pack could have, maybe you'd want to analyze your whole Windows estate, your whole Linux estate, AWS, Office 365 and Exchange, that can fit in a pack as well. So all your critical business services in one place, and you can proactively use that Splunk cloud to then investigate and remediate your issues. And then the Ollie pack, similarly, and this will be the example actually, I'll go into, like, imagine that we're a council later, but through the Ollie pack, you could get that full stack analytics. So for, say, you've got a custom app, which is written in, I don't know, Java, and it's on XYZ infrastructure, you can get that analytics across that whole full stack. It's real time as well, which is pretty key. So at the end of the pack, you would have, say, one of your applications completely observable. Let's imagine we are a council, because I promised you an example. It really does help to imagine how we're going to use these points. So let's pretend we're a fairly small, medium town council for, I don't know, little town. We have our client-facing website, which is citizen-facing. And we have our own custom apps for people to apply for benefits, housing, council tax, and parking, say parking fines or parking meters, whatever. So those are the typical apps that we might provide on our website. Behind it in the dotted line, that just represents we also need to observe our pre-prod and our dev environments as well. Inside our council, don't have a huge number of people, but we do have a good code pipeline. So that's the sort of pipe visual there, where we'll be using Jenkins and Git to make sure we orchestrate all of this. And those applications are sat on boxes of infrastructure, which again, we want to monitor. So we go to Somerford and we say, look, hey, can we have a fast track Splunk? And this first slide is about the bit where we're just discovering we haven't purchased anything yet. We don't know what we want yet. So we go through a detailed scoping and sizing with Somerford to work out what would suit us for our organization at the moment. And we have a really good session with the BVC team where we do a data source assessment. We end up with our prescribed value path, our roadmap, and we decide, okay, I think a standard pack will do for me. I've got 16 points. And through those discussions with BVC and the technical consultants, I think we should start with our benefits app. It's written in Java and it's on a Linux box or estate. So looking at my data source menu, I can spend 4 points on that Linux observability and monitor my application on Java with 12 points, 4 plus 12, 16, great, can afford that. So obviously each of the pillars has their own data source menu with their own kind of cost in a way of points of effort for each of the use cases. And this is the Ollie one. So at the end of this, I know that I will have my benefits app, which is the one that gets the most complaints, and I have no idea what happens. Sometimes it has most of the things it's falling down on. That will be monitored and I will get a lot of value straight off. Obviously later I'll be trained anyway, so I could go and do it for the website, the housing, the council tax and parking, but let's just take the high priority one first. So now there's a pause in a way, there's the environment build, so we'd need to get Ollie spun up, Ollie meaning observability, and we need to say request apps to be installed, and Somerford could do all that for you. And then this is the go no point where we purchase, and then we go into the project. There's a return on the detailed workshop where we make sure that we know exactly where the Linux boxes are. We'll need like we'll need specifics, we'll need to agree some naming conventions, we'll need to validate that scope and make sure that the dashboards are sort of designed in theory with you. Then we actually need to connect what we're looking at to Splunk and onboard the data, tune all the alerts and dashboards so it meets what you need. And then we'll do our user enablement. It's more than vendor agnostics or Splunk training, that which is great training that Splunk provide, and you have credits for. This is, okay, this is Ollie in your environment. What have we done for you? How are you going to use this dashboard with the people who are going to be using it? And we'll return to that VVC plan to work out, okay, now we've done our pack, what are we going to do next? And we'll have a go live situation where we're supported with Somerford to be there on day one when everyone's going to be logging into Ollie again. I've done a little client input flag because there will be a bit of time where you'll need input, and particularly for the application performance management. But this is not onerous. We're just talking about an elapsed time of 4 weeks, including the scoping that I went through on the previous slides as well. But engagement obviously needed for when you're enabling the users and things. And then 4 weeks later, what do we have? We've got the license, we've been enabled, and we've got some training credits as well. I can steer you through those. We've done the implementation, and we know where to get more support. We've got our account manager. We've probably booked in our health check, and we've got full-on access to all of the Somerford user groups, exec forums, webinars, and things that Somerford offer. So we're ready to go with observability. All of the 3 pillars have that same process from scoping all the way through to the delivery. So you could take that example, you'll still have your points of effort, and you'll just use that on a different menu of use cases. So just in sum, why Fast Track Splunk? Value within 4 weeks. And that's the total package. So it's a really quick return of investment. Would like to open up the floor for any questions, though.
Yeah, I've just got a few coming through here. Just have a look here. Okay, so we've got one which says, can you explain the license sizes? So I'm just going to view that from the point of view, I'm guessing that's against Splunk Cloud for the ITOps and the security use cases, or pillars, sorry. So the first thing, starting light pack, is a 20 gig license. Then we move up to the standard, which is a 50 gigabyte license. And then we move on to the enterprise, or the fully baked one for the initial starting point, which is 100 gig. Again, what I would say on that is if you have a requirement that sits outside of that, and FTS perhaps doesn't feel like it's the right fit for you and your requirements, and we discuss that with our consultants, again, all comes part of the service, then we can look at more bespoke packs that perhaps are going to be more beneficial for you as an organization as you look to adopt and meet your requirements. Got another one here, which is what is the price for a light security pack? So all the packs have scripted predefined pricing, depending on if it's security, ITOps, or observability. If you go onto the Somerford website and click through onto the FTS section, you can then click to download the solution guides, which then also has access to the pricing as well. On doing that, you will also get an account manager who will give you a call. Let's be upfront about that, just to understand what it is you're looking to achieve, and to see if you want to start moving things forward as they are today. And that would include a full rundown of the pricing, which, as we said, it's a single one-off cost that includes everything. What I would say on that is that it is an initial price where, if we can get further approvals from Splunk, which we have to put in to get some additional approval processes, if they are approved for you as a new customer to Splunk, then we will hopefully be able to provide a slightly better price, which is always nice for everyone. And finally, slightly more technical question, but I think I can cover this one. Does it come with encryption at rest? So the standard packs do not come with encryption at rest. So I say standard, sorry, the actual FTS packs don't, as a default, come with encryption at rest. However, if that is a requirement, which for many organizations it will be, we can absolutely include that. It just means taking a slight change to the pack before we send out the pricing and the overview for you. So not as default, but absolutely they can be included. I can't see any other questions coming through at the moment. Just have a final check. No, I can't see anything else there. So what I would say is just take this opportunity to say thank you very much for joining today. I hope that was able to give you some insights as to what FTS is in terms of the scripted, fast track, Splunk pillars that we've created. They are absolutely in conjunction with Splunk, and they are live and ready and available for further conversation and details, and to move forward and hopefully move forward and implement them. As a futures, and just moving slightly towards future roadmaps, we will be adding to these pillars. So do keep an eye out. So we do have an FTS digital that will be coming out shortly, which is building upon the observability pillar, but going more into detail around some of the web monitoring capabilities that are available. And then will also be some more detail around particular vertical specific packs. So keep an eye out, they are coming very shortly, and they are again all in response to our customers' needs, and also potential prospects who have asked us, can you do this? We can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.